This is Mouse Gunner, and we're back with Kerbal Space Program. Now we're going to continue our career, and I only did one launch for the first video, just starting the first, essentially 13 minutes of day one of our career. And we did a mission. We were able to get a craft off the ground, and that was our initial unlock. Now, the next thing, honestly, I want to do to be able to get a decent chance at an orbit is I definitely want to unlock this. Fortunately, we had a missed opportunity there where I didn't realize what my mission, my active mission cap was, and I wasn't able to select a mission that would have been easily completed, which makes me lose out on a little bit of revenue and also science. But I have a number of things I can do to easily get science in our next mission. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just open our vehicle construction building. And I didn't save our previous capsule, honestly, because it was using some pretty basic materials. Now we have a few options open to us. We have some engines, and we have another larger solid fuel booster. The only problem with that is the fuel tank that we have is quite small at the moment, although we could still do something with that. Unfortunately, we don't really have a means. It looks like we do have a fin, though, here, which may give us a little bit of controllability. Although, honestly, at this point, we're just launching rockets straight up in the air. I don't really think we're going to get in orbit. Although there is a slight chance of it. And we still have parachutes. And we have this mystery goo, which we can use for science as well. So what I'm thinking here, we're going to at least attempt to see if we can make some kind of rocket that will get into orbit. But honestly, without being able to stage our rocket more, I really don't see the possibility for that. But what I'm going to do here is grab a couple more of these fuel tanks so that we have roughly a larger size tank. And then we're going to grab one of these engines. We only have one engine to choose from, and I don't think it has any gimbling or anything. It will produce electricity for us, which is kind of good. But otherwise, it's just a straight-on rocket. It's not going to help us with direction. Now, we do have the larger thruster here. Solid fuel boosters, I guess is what I wanted to say there. And we're going to take advantage of that. And what we're going to do here is we're going to do more or less the same kind of construct that we did before, which was 4 boosters off to the side. As I said, unfortunately, we can't jettison those boosters. And something... Probably I should have put the connectors lower down. I have a feeling that this is going to tip over if I don't. So why don't we get rid of that and bring this down here. Then we can at least try and get this to be a little bit more level so it doesn't flip over on us. Because we don't have any of the, I'm not even sure what the gantry or anything to hold our craft in, so we kind of have to just make do. And we might as well also use some parachutes here. I'm going to do the same kind of setup, giving ourselves lots of parachutes because we want to really slow down our descent because we can't jettison off these fuel tanks. And if there's any fuel remaining, they will explode on us and kill us. So it's always a good thing to be safe rather than sorry. So now we have to go ahead and do our staging. And essentially, it goes in order of highest number to lowest number, 0 being the last stage you do. So our last stage is going to definitely be our parachutes. And I want to have at least 3 stages. I want to bring the boosters down to the first stage, number 2, and bring our normal thruster here to 1. And I'm going to try this setup. And the idea being that I'm going to fire off the boosters, and once they run out, I'm going to switch to the normal rocket engine. And let's see how that goes. So let's go ahead. Probably we're going to do Jebediah Kerman again. Although, honestly, it might be a good idea to use somebody else so that we can get experience across the board. So I'm going to go ahead and grab Valentina Kerman, which that's another thing that is newer to me is the female Kerbals, because when I was initially playing the game, they only had male ones, and that's a nice addition. Now you can have a more varied crew. Alright, so let's go ahead and launch our mission. I'm not going to save this one either, because honestly this isn't anything all that fantastic. But what we're going to do with this launch is we're going to do some of the science things. Oh, I forgot to get the mystery goo. I probably should have grabbed that. We can do that another time. But what we're going to do here is we're going to do a crew report. And we're going to keep the data, and this is worth 1.5 science. It's not worth a lot of science because it's essentially on the surface of Kerbin, which isn't all that impressive, but every one of these reports we do is going to give us a little bit more research or science. Now, I think we can stack reports, but we'll find out here in a second, because some of the reports I'm going to do are going to be in the atmosphere, because that every layer of atmosphere is essentially allows you a different report. So let's go ahead and fire off. I have the thrust all the way up, but we're not going to have our normal rocket booster fire first. So we're going to go ahead with that. We already have our command pod selected. Let's go ahead and get our fuel out so we can see that burn off. Once our solid fuel booster runs out, I'm going to kick in the other rocket, which is about now. A little bit of wobble there, but it looks like it's straightened itself out. And as soon as this runs out, we might even throttle down, give ourselves a little bit more time. Alright, there it goes. I'm going to hit the parachutes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do another crew report. Whoa. Don't wobble on me. Another crew report. Oh, no. Yeah, we can only have one crew report. So we're going to have that one crew report from the ground. And we're going to have this other one. So definitely not enough science. I mean, not enough lift to get us up into space. As I don't even know if we made it this high. Kind of hard for me to say now at this point. Let's get off that. So that's kind of unfortunate. We can only have one crew report. This is where having radio equipment would really help out, because we could send the report and then get another one. Unfortunately, that's all we're going to have is just surface data. But in our subsequent launches, we can do data at each of the atmosphere levels, which will give us research independently. So why don't we go ahead and speed things up now that I'm done blabbing at you. Looks like we're going to fall roughly right next to where our launch pad is. I don't know if you can actually fall on the buildings and get your craft destroyed that way, because it looks like we're coming close to some of our buildings. I don't think we're going to land on one, though. There's our parachute opening. I was actually afraid we were going too fast there for a second. So let's speed that up. And hopefully we don't blow up or fall over on impact. So unfortunately, as you see here, we're not quite able to get up very high yet. But that's another mission launched and another success. So let's go ahead and grab our research. So we're going to go to our Space Center. You don't want to click revert flight because that will start you all over again. And click here. And then recover. Alright, so we didn't get a whole lot of science for this mission, unfortunately. But we did get a little bit of science. One was from the data gathered from the ground, the crew report, And then the other one was just data for doing the recovery, which we've already done once, so that gave us very diminishing returns. This is where not doing that mission kind of didn't help us too much. But we did gain also no reputation because we didn't do a whole lot. But we did gain some experience for the crew. And this is kind of the way we're going to have to do things initially, because I made that one mistake with the mission. If I had done that mission, right now we would have unlocked it. And probably would have had enough science to do something. Because right now we only have 3.3 science. And the next science thing is 5. So, fortunately, not yet. But, if we do the same mission again, we should be able to do more crew reports and be able to do better that way. Now, I'm thinking, is there another way to do this that would be a little bit more effective? I'm not really sure that there is. I mean, we could put more boosters on. I mean, I guess that's not necessarily a bad idea, but without being able to jettison it, kind of makes the craft a little heavy and unstable. But what I'm thinking here, let's put that there. Maybe we can fit more of these things. And we'll go with that way. And hopefully this works. So let's get another crew member in there. Let's go ahead and exit her out. And we'll go ahead and grab Bill Kerman, who, although he's an engineer, not a pilot, that's alright. It still gives him experience. And then let's go ahead and launch our mission again. It looks like everything is set up correctly. So let's launch. Hopefully we get a little bit higher. And even if we don't, we're still going to collect some science here. Oh, okay. So no, we can't do it that way. So let's go back here. That's not what I wanted to grab. Grab this. Switch it to 4 times. Looks like that's about as much as we can do. We could. So there is a weight limit. So let's launch. Yeah, so we're definitely not getting into orbit at the moment. But once we start getting staging happen, this will be a lot easier to do. This time we're going to go a different route. We're going to have all of the thrusters go at once. Okay, we have a little bit of wobble. I think we'll be alright though. I could try and pitch it back to straight, but honestly I would rather not. And there you have it. There's our thrust. Alright, so we're going to do a crew report. We didn't get nearly as high, as you can see. So now we're getting a lot more science because we're higher up in the air. And let's go ahead. Oh, I thought I did all of them at once. Whoops. Okay, so we need to bring the thing up, 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 up. Oh well, we got a lower atmosphere setting. I could have swore I hit the spacebar twice to stage the second stage. Must have not registered. That's my bad. So we definitely could have gotten higher, but we were going to get 3.5 science for that kind of lower atmosphere level. And then once we get a better rocket, what we'll be able to do, and let's try and get this thing so it's a bit more stable. Except, I'm not sure if I really achieved that. There we go. That should even itself out now that we have the parachutes. So we have a land distance record of 5,000, I think it's at 5,000 kilometers. So we did probably get another milestone currency-wise. But it's kind of a slow start when you're starting off in Kerbal Space Program. But with this mission, and let's go ahead and speed it up, we should be able to afford the other, and there was a little bit of a glitch there, so I slowed it down a little bit. To be able to afford the other research, which will allow us to build a much more diverse craft. Essentially, those first 2 research points are really key. This crap being so heavy, it actually makes me nervous when it gets down closer to the ground, because it takes a little bit of time for those parachutes to do their thing. Alright, we're not landing on even ground, so hopefully that's alright. Okay, it looks like we're fine. So let's go ahead and go back to the Space Center. This should be one of the last times we do a really basic mission like this. In any case, let's go and recover. And we should see that we get 3.5 science and 0.1. So we see those diminishing returns for doing the same mission. But now we have a total of 6 science, so we should be able to do our next thing. And it looks like also these are the parts we regained, and we didn't get any more reputation, unfortunately. All right, so let's go ahead and go back. And it looks like we're making a little bit of money, surely but slowly. So let's go back to our research center and get the Engineering 101, which we definitely need. And now we're going to get a new cockpit, a Science Junior, and more importantly, we get the Communitron 1 or 16, I guess is what it's called. And we get the stack decoupler. This is the most important part of this whole thing. These two are very important. This allows us to do more science gathering missions in one mission, which should rack up the science faster for us. So now that we unlock that, we should be golden. Now, as I said, that should be the last of the basic missions that we do. After this point, we're going to be building a lot more complex craft as we go through the research tree. The next one I probably want to look at is... This is good because we get a larger fuel tank, we get a larger solid fuel thruster, and we get the gimbaling rocket, which allows for a little bit more controllability. Stability gives us a number of aerodynamic features, and our radial decoupler, which is a nice thing to have. And finally, survivability. We get landing struts, heat shields. Ooh, this is new. We didn't used to have to do heat shields. Ooh, that might make the orbiting mission a little bit more challenging, maybe. Maybe I need to really worry about that now. In any case, we also have a radial parachute mount, which is also nice to have, and finally a service bay. Oh, but the heat shield. Oh, I wonder if that's something you really, really need to have. That's interesting. I'm not exactly sure about that. So that's something we're going to have to find out. That might be one of the next key science things that we get. But from what I can see, we've got 15, 18, 20. So this will be the first one we'll be able to afford. Now, again, how much this heat shield is a requirement when you're doing an orbit, I'm not sure, because previously in the game there was no heat shield. And you could re-enter orbit without one. So I'm curious to see that. In any case, I hope you guys look forward to the next video in the Kerbal Space Program career. This is Mouse Gunner, signing out.